Assassination Classroom Season 1, Episode 17. It's time for Kunerdon to come on and spin more of his lies. More school! All I hear is school. Oh, this is pretty cool, I guess. If you can go with your classmates. Sheer debauchery, yes! Okay, this is getting better by the second. Yeah, but you don't like that, do you, Kunerdon? It's actually a really great touch having this informational mascot have an axe to grind. As far as pure villainy in the show so far, he's probably #1. What I've learned from the Persona series is that when you take an island trip with your high school classmates, some of the guys will band together and try to pick up girls on the beach, which may or may not be American girls, with hilarious and pathetic consequences, but maybe aegis, though we already have the AI student, and she's no aegis. Episode 17, Island Time. But there will be teachable moments, that you can be sure of. What are they doing? Why are they all together? Just hanging out? I never thought that for a second. I never believed it for a second. They told you this. City boy slash Pokemon bug catcher. I was gonna say girls, but okay. I was right. Yes. Man. Wait, am I getting this right? Okay. I was about to say, I lost the plot there for a second. I thought his plan was to pick up girls with beetles, and I was like, wow, this is really ended before it even began. That's definitely like skewed towards the pathetic. But the beetles to money to swimsuit, still pathetic, but a little bit better. Also, I just realized they're not even on the island yet. I think you have forgotten what this trip is about. New character introduction unlocked. For one, babe, this is dark. Good lord. You're 15. You shouldn't be thinking about buying girls yet. That comes later. Kurahashi, you know a lot about babe economy. The way they're phrasing this, I feel like this is going to cross over into knowledge of humans and human nature. Maybe she has an angle. I feel like just like the kids are getting suckered into learning on their vacation, I'm getting suckered into learning about bugs. This feels like an educational episode. That's ambitious. What are we catching? Bigfoot? Oh, right. Yeah, worse than Bigfoot. It's not only that Koro-sensei doesn't need to expect this, and not only that he does expect this, but that he wants this. He's looking forward to it. Everyone needs to kind of take their individual shot to fully get it. Everyone thinks they're an expert when they're watching something. You can always think of a million ways that you would have done it better. You gotta get your hands dirty. That feeling when you catch your teacher looking at porn in the forest. I'm a little bit insulted that none of my students ever did this for me. He knows what they're up to. Really? Is this a real thing? Has this ever happened once? I mean, I have seen this in anime. I think his type is Irina. He's onto something. This is very scientific. This is, I mean, practical. Not gonna hate on it. That's a bold claim. I mean, he's fired up. I like baseball. I like Beatles. I like porn. My interests are porn and porn. I like porn a real lot. I've been holding this in all my life, and finally I have a chance to use my porn abilities. Finally it has a use, and I have a fit in this classroom, in this world. I hate to admit this and give her any credit at all, but this actually maybe could be something that the AI student is useful for once. If the AI is that advanced and we know his tastes, we can presumably just make it. I mean, it actually is a pretty good idea for a bunch of reasons. I mean, it's a vulnerability, clearly. It's also great because even Koro-sensei might not be super anticipatory of his students doing this. About the porn saving the world, I mean, I know he directly means killing Koro-sensei, but I've noticed there's an anti-porn movement that's been brewing over the last couple of years. I don't really know. I've always thought there were probably societal benefits to it, but I do think their critique is insightful the more it applies to people on an individual level, though that also begs the question, if there is an individual problem, then there almost certainly is a societal problem. It's just the question of like, on net, is it harmful? Zooming out from pornography, thank God, generally there's always going to be a risk and will be really easy to run into trouble when there is some method of giving some reward without the reason the reward exists in the first place. Probably the easiest example of this is drugs, where you're either reducing negative feelings or enhancing pleasurable feelings without actually having done anything to problem solve or improve things or do something meaningful, the results of which are wired in us to be the things that we're seeking through the drugs. All of our natural mechanisms, though not all pleasant, they are not there for no reason. And so at the extreme end, cutting those off completely is a sort of severing of your relationship with yourself and the world in which you're designed to participate. Just like how the point of happiness isn't happiness. Happiness is a reward of doing something that is the point. Treating the good feelings as the end creates like a weird reductive loop where in the meantime, it's possible you're weakening some of the foundations of the actual health of your life. Then add in the concept of like super stimuli, which is like things that are artificial or alien to your biological wiring so that they kind of hijack your system and send you into overdrive to your own detriment of those things. The way I learned about this actually was I saw a video of this beetle that likes large brown females. And so if they encounter like a brown glass beer bottle, I think it was, in the forest, they will just hump themselves to death, which is tragically hilarious. So I wouldn't go so far as to say that pornography doesn't do any good or is just intrinsically terrible, but I also wouldn't say it's going to save the world. I mean, I think it just creates new problems. Once he gets through all the books. Okay. That would have been funny. I like that saying too. This porn sword. It's actually a really cool metaphor with a very odd delivery. Did he find a beetle? How much is that worth? Oh no, you blew the whole plan. You're also standing on the BBs. Well, I guess she's okay. Not at all surprised by her presence. Yeah. Right. This is inappropriate. Highly inappropriate. It's beyond mortifying. Yeah, of course he did. I was willing to die for it. Interesting. I now know more about stag beetles. I have very mixed feelings about this segment. But Nagisa, once again, turning this into a beautiful, heartfelt speech about our assassination classroom. I see what you're doing, Nagisa. I see what you're doing, and I don't like it. You're trying to lure me into caring so that you can destroy me in the end. The students really rolled with that whole porn thing. They're open-minded kids. That would have been a major scandal at any other school. Imagine. Guess what we found teacher doing in the forest. I feel like she's in semi-retirement now. She just likes it here. She has people to listen to her stories. みんなが考えた作戦にプロの視点から助言をくれる。1日休めば指や腕は殺しを忘れる。Also, is she drinking a cocktail in school? This is just, we're breaking all the rules. Did I see that right? Yeah, she's just boozing it up. This is a debauchery summer vacation, and we're not even on the island yet. Have a drink, why don't you? In your class. I mean, actually, that's right on brand with the foreign English teacher. I will now tell one of the most embarrassing stories of my life against my better judgment. This is a long time ago. I was a new teacher in Korea. The tuition schedule of these private academies is based on number of classes. So a lot of them, while they do respect public holidays, what they'll often do is just make up for that missed day on a Saturday. So I had one of these Saturday classes, but I was out all night partying. And it occurred to me at one point that it was like 7 a.m. and I had to go to work directly. So I left the club, I got on the train, rode halfway across Seoul, fell asleep, missed my stop, got off and ran to class and was 5 minutes late. So I burst into the room and no one had bothered to tell me that because it was a special class day or whatever, because it was a Saturday, it was bring your parent to class day. So I burst into class 5 minutes late, inebriated, to find myself face to face with the students and their parents and, you know, their older sisters and brothers, and had to sort of wing it from there. Somehow I kept my job, and that is my point. I still wonder how much they knew. They must have known at some level. Some of them must have known. It always feels like everyone knows when you're in a compromised situation, and sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. It's just pure anxiety fuel. I still taught the class though. I'm sure some kid in there learned something that day. At least she still has her full body coordination. This sounds like foreshadowing. Maybe there's some other force? Nah, it's gotta be something else, right? They're dying?
I'll
bet he has some kind of failsafe if he loses all the tentacles. Oh yeah, okay, good. This makes more sense. This is more realistic. Oh no, everyone's gonna know immediately. Yeah, no, you need more than ice pops. It's just a different thing, it's just a different level. We saw what snipers can do though. It's not going to be this. I feel like the way to beat him is going to be something like in chess, where you just force it. It's not going to be like a good shot or a good stab. It's going to be like literally you're playing Connect 4 and there's 3 in a row with 2 open-ended slots and it's death either way. It's got to be something like that. And to use those games as an analogy, it has to start to be a necessary logical sequence from before that point. You have to go real deep and then that house of cards will fall like dominoes. Checkmate. Yeah, some of them legit have a potential career here after this is all over, but Koro-sensei also has given them backup plans just in case. What do I do about my bloodlust? They all can see it. Okay, we're developing a legend. We have a big legend. The Reaper. It's possible we already know him. This is great, he's really adding value. I guess we'll find out what that was later, in the heat of a moment. Oh, gets seasick. He has a lot of weaknesses, and simultaneously none. Please don't get kidnapped this time. Another weakness. Sunburn. Okay, actually, this school is shelling out for this vacation. They do have a vibe, now that they've been pointed out to me as being characters. It's a shame, I wish I could know them all from the beginning. I feel like it would be such a great enhancement. Can you guys let me know if it would be a bad idea to like read their bios first? Just to like pre-study, if you know what I mean? Then it would click better, I think. Because there's just so many of them. And it's not like My Hero Academia where they sort of stand out based on their quirks. Here they're all just kids and we're like told about their abilities, but there are not as many visual clues. Like they're not shadow birds or frog girls or whatever the hell Mineta is, though at least they're all visible. They also don't have puns in their names and stuff. All right, these two are the snipers. They're the cool collected snipers. Oh no, there go our dreams of picking up babes. That was barely a swimsuit if we're being honest. Completely ignored. Oh, hello. He's like toss her into the ocean or something. Away with you. It wasn't even deep. That was cruel. He just tossed her into the sand. That actually is an interesting angle for her. People think she's given up and it's just, you know, boozing, but that's deliberate. I kind of was sleeping on her a little bit, maybe. Plot twist. It will not. How does that happen? They're not doing a great job. I mean, it's kind of all over their faces. If you finish this job, you can enjoy yourselves for the rest of your lives. How is it getting darker at night? There's no more sun. I mean, he's just a liquid, right? He can, yeah, right. I mean, he's just on a different level. They don't realize the scale yet. He's not showing them his true powers yet. This actually is a thing I think you see in hustling. You don't actually realize how far above you they are. They're so far above you that it's effortless, which means the skills and tools they're even using aren't their true skills. Or you're deliberately handicapping yourself for fun. Like if I go to the arcade with a date and play Tekken, I'm 100% going to win. It's not fun to just win because there's no question. I have to make it challenging in some way. I either have to say I'm only going to use this or complete spectacular annihilation. It's one or the other. They're evaluating his skills based on his I'm playing with you level. His real biggest weakness actually is just indulging all this nonsense all the time and agreeing to things he has no need to. It's really for their benefit. You see how this doesn't work, kids? You see how you're not ready yet and how you're failing and you have to think way harder? That should tell you something, right? Props to them for even trying this hard. But yeah, it has to click. Like, they're not thinking about it even in the right scale yet, I feel. Me being the expert viewer, having no experience in this. Horo Sensei's participation often feels like just so much charity. I guess there's no real other way they can learn what they don't know. That's the point, but I'm waiting for something to break.